folks. Here we go. Friday, the eve of Alabama, Texas A&M. You're rocking and rolling with your man, yours truly, Stephen M. Smith, John Ivory as well. Touchdown, Alabama Magazine, in my own words, coming to you from the magic city of Birmingham, streaming you the show on YouTube. Speaking of a channel, go ahead right now, drop a thumbs up, give a like on the show, hit that subscribe button, turn all of those notifications on, hit that bell, so that way you can have all the news, notes, information, coverage, and entertainment on your favorite program, that being the Crimson Tide. We got you covered on Facebook and Twitter as well, and there's a lot to dive into, a lot to discuss here on this evening. A little bit later on the show, we'll be joined live by the man, the legend in recruiting, our own Justin Smith for TDA. Bama brought in a 4-star commitment at tight end. One Jaleel Skinner has given his yes to the Crimson Tide program for the 2022 class, so definitely want to check in with Justin to see how big, this is in terms of Alabama football. Definitely have to shout out our own John Ivory in the building, doing the ones and twos as he does in the production studio. But I want to hear from you guys today, your thoughts, your opinions, your viewpoints. You can do this by calling 205-448-1358. That's the number to call in to let your voice be heard on the show, 205-448-1358. And one more time, 205-448-1358. Want to hear from you guys for daily Super Chat Gold. $75 daily Super Chat Gold. Appreciate the love from all of you. It's crazy how 2 losses can make so much of a difference. Before the season started, it was Alabama, Texas A&M. This is the game of the year in the SEC. People are like, highlight it, put a circle over it, underline it, wrap a string around your finger to alert yourself. October 9th, Alabama, Texas A&M from Kyle Field, College Station, Texas. Nick Saban, Jimbo Fisher. This is the game of the year, especially after the Aggies lost one game a season ago that came against Alabama, and Fisher was lobbying for his team to get into the college football playoff. Of course, that didn't happen, so everybody had this year pencil, but after 2 losses, this game has gone from being incredibly hyped to basically just another game. So it'll be interesting. Definitely want to get your thoughts here on this Alabama-Texas A&M matchup, but we start the conversation off with this, and it's Alabama's running back room, in particular, Roydell Williams. This is a big opportunity for Roydell, and Coach Saban has talked about it all week long. He has prepared himself for this moment. He has prepared himself for this opportunity. He is ready to seize the moment as he is now in an expanded role offensively for the Crimson Tide, taking over that Jace McClellan spot that Jace McClellan had in terms of doing a little bit of everything. McClellan sustaining an injury, a knee injury against Ole Miss, and had surgery on that knee on Tuesday, out for the remainder of the season. But Saban and the team really, a lot of confidence in Roydell. I mean, they talk about it. Williams, he's got size, he's got speed, he's got burst, he's got power, he's got explosiveness. He can catch the ball out the backfield. Of course, we saw that in the spring game, 4 catches for 65 yards. So the young man can do a lot of everything out there on the field. And me personally, when I watch Roydell play, and this is from high school at Hueytown in the Birmingham area to right now, just watching Roydell play, he reminds me of a few former Alabama running backs. So in Roydell's game, I see a little Josh Jacobs. I see a little Mark Ingram. I also see a little of Kenneth Darby. Ken Darby, I know that's a throwback right there. Ken Darby, of whom probably one of the more underrated backs to play for this program and at this program, the University of Alabama, in the early 2000s. Darby could go. I mean, this guy was a 1,000-yard back, and when he was healthy, my, oh my, was he good. Quickness, burst, explosion, cutback ability, vision. Ken Darby, number 34, brought it all to the table. And in watching Roydell Williams play, kind of see a bit of that mentality in him out there on the field. And I mentioned this on Wednesday's show. We've already seen the big play potential that Roydell brings going back to the Southern Miss game. He had 11 carries for 110 yards, 1 touchdown, averaged 10 yards per carry, had a long run of 55 yards. He just showed you, hey, in given the opportunity, I can make plays. In given the opportunity, I can create some stuff at running back. In given the opportunity, I can show you guys that I have the marquee tools to bring to the table at that position. And what's also pretty cool here is for the first time since 2004 in this situation, for the first time since 2004 and the first time in the Nick Saban tenure for the program, Alabama's 1-2. They have a tandem at running back. They have a duo. They have a 1-2 punch in Brian Robinson and Roydell Williams, both in-state guys. When you look at B-Rob from Tuscaloosa, played his high school ball at Hillcrest High School off Alabama Highway 69 South. Came in that 2017 recruiting class as a 4-star. And then you've got Roydell Williams, who played ball for the Hueytown Gophers here in the Birmingham area, 4-star when he came in the 2020 class. So you have 2 in-state talents, 2 in-state guys as your 1-2 punch here for the Crimson Tide. And what makes this really unique is when an in-state guy gets an offer from the Crimson Tide, it means more to those guys. Not to say that getting the out-of-town offers don't mean anything to guys when you look at players coming in from California and Florida and Georgia, Mississippi State, Tennessee, Maryland, all parts of the U.S. Having any player to get an Alabama offer, it means something to that player because Alabama is the biggest, one of the most recognizable brands in college football, absolutely. But I'm saying for those guys who grew up in the state of Alabama, they watched nothing but Crimson Tide football their entire lives. Their fathers, their grandfathers, their uncles, whoever was the father figure in that family that had that particular young man up every day, watching the legends on TV, watching the greats on the big screen play football for the University of Alabama. This is all they know. This was all they saw. This was all they grew up on. So when they get that offer from their childhood dream, when they get that offer from their childhood school, their childhood university, the Crimson Tide, it means a lot more to those in-state guys because they worked so hard for it. And just seeing how we're going to have an opportunity to watch Brian Robinson and Roydell Williams do work on the field against Texas A&M at Kyle Field. That's going to be really, really cool. And as we look at here, just Roydell and Jace McClellan, Jace brought more so of that home run hitting speed to the table. He was Mr. Get Up and Go from Aledo, Texas. Of a sophomore running back, he enhanced Alabama's offense a lot when you discuss his ability to run the ball with power between the tackles, bounce plays outside, showing the speed, the burst, the acceleration, and explosiveness, being able to have that wherewithal and pass protection, sticking oncoming blitzers in the hole and giving Bryce Young a split second or seconds more to deliver the football on time and accurately, and then most importantly, catching passes out the backfield, being that reliable, dependable, viable option as a receiver. So McClellan really did a lot to enhance this team, but looking at Williams, I think he can do the same thing. I think he can do some of the same things. He's really good in pass protection. He's got power in between the tackles. He can bounce plays outside. He's got a gear to him. Going back to the spring, he caught passes out the backfield. So he's got a versatility to his game, and now he's getting a massive opportunity. He's getting a huge chance to showcase to the coaching staff, his teammates, himself, the fans, that he has this massive skill set that he's ready to put here on display for the Crimson Tide. So I'm excited for Roydell. I mean, I'm excited for Trey Sanders also to get opportunities, but I'm just really excited here for Williams just due to I remember when he signed his national letter of intent to come to the Crimson Tide. During his interview with reporters at Hueytown, one reporter asked him specifically, Alabama missed the college football playoff this year. Why do you want to go to Alabama? They missed the playoff. They're not competing for an SEC championship. They're not in the hunt for big things this year. So, what possesses you? Why do you want to come to the Crimson Tide? And I remember Roydell lasered that camera right in the face, and he said, and you know what? This will be the last time Alabama misses out on the college football playoff. You know why? Because I'm coming to Alabama. I'm coming to the Crimson Tide. I'm putting my letter of intent in here, and I'm making sure that 2019 is the last time this program, this school, misses out on the CFP. And, last season, as a small contributor, Roydell was able to help the team get back to the college football playoff with a national championship. So now, in a bigger role, with a bigger opportunity, it's going to be nice. It's going to be awesome seeing him out there on the field. So Roydell Williams getting this chance to play for Alabama in a expanded role at Kyle Field, and B-Rob with Williams, the first 1-2 in-state punch at that running back position. Awesome. Gonna get a chance to watch this at College Station, Texas on Saturday. But we take our first break here on the show. Don't touch that dial, just getting started. Upon our return, we go to the phone lines to take your calls, your thoughts, your tweets, your chats, your texts, your conversations. It's coming right after this.
You're watching In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith, brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Get your four-finger bling necklace today by visiting weownthefourthquarter.com. Throw them foes up.
I'm Malachi Moore. You're watching In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith on Touchdown Alabama YouTube channel.
Every sports fan deserves the proper representation. Whitwell Sports introduces to you the Title Towel. Wave that Title Towel in the air like you just don't care in support of Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Only $9.99 and it lasts a lifetime. Head on over to whitwellsports.com and get your Title Towel today.
Remember the taste of Grandma's delicious sweets? Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes brings back those precious memories with just one bite. Each cake made from scratch. They make the perfect dessert to share with family and friends for any occasion, and ordering is easy. Visit Emily'sHeirloomPoundCakes.com. Click the online store and shop. Then pick up your fresh cake at the kitchen in downtown Homewood. Order yours online at Emily'sHeirloomPoundCakes.com. Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes, making memories from scratch.
And we are back into the action here, folks, from the break on the number one forum for Bama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen M. Smith, Touchdown Alabama Magazine on a Friday, TGIF edition of the show on the eve of Bama Texas A&M taking place tomorrow, 7 p.m. Central Time kickoff under the lights of Kyle Field, College Station, Texas. CBS will have the call on the game. Coach Saban trying to go 25-0 against his former assistants. We got some super chats to get to appreciate the love from all of you. We start things off with my man Christian. That $9.99 in the super chats coming from Christian. Appreciate him for that. We got Plow Jogger 1776. Plow Jogger, here, let's see, is that Plow Jogger with that $5 donation. Appreciate the love there from Plow Jogger. And then we got my man Senator Coach Smoke Hines, baby. That $19.99. Boom, bam, in the super chats. Appreciate Senator. Even Roll Tide and Rise Up. He in here. That $25 donation. Appreciate Roll Tide and Rise Up. Behind him, we got Coach Smoke, Senator again with a $10 donation. Appreciate the love from Senator. And Gucci Tie. Can't forget Gucci Mane. Gucci Tie, that $10 donation on his end. Daily super chat goal of $75 has been met. Appreciate the love from every single last one of you as John Ivory has got that horn rolling right now. But we go to the phone lines now. to take your calls. Call segment brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang, 205-448-1358. That be the number to dial to let your voice be heard on the show. 205-448-1358. We grab a call right here. You're live on the show. It's happening. Happy Friday to you. State your name and where you're calling from.
The president has finally returned this week to TDA Magazine. Before we start here, we need to remember these people. We had this massive flooding over here in Birmingham Wednesday. Helena, Pelham, Hoover area. We want to remember these people. And people say, well, prayers don't do no good. Well, God's still on the throne. He said you have not because you ask not. But anyway, Stephen, I tell you, I've been hearing some bad stuff this week. I've been down in the dumps about Sanders and this broke hand situation. You're going to have to tell me something good, because if you don't, I'm going to have to go in there and barf. Lay something on me good.
All right, well, weighing in, Alabama got a 4-star commitment from tight end Jaleel Skinner. Big 4-star athletic tight end Jaleel Skinner today gave his commitment to the Crimson Tide for 2022. So Bama continuing to rack up the people on the recruiting trail.
Well, all right. Maybe somebody will step up in Drew Sanders' spot. I hope so. I hope he gets to come back. And all the people in the chat, I see everybody, cities, towns, countries, and states, all the love, all the donations calling in, leaving your messages. People love you. I guarantee you TDA loves you, and I do too. We're going to end it up like this Friday. We're going to have a little laugh here. We're going to go into the weekend, hope we win the ball game tomorrow. Maybe I hope Georgia beats Auburn. Maybe Auburn will beat Georgia. But anyway, well, thank you, Pussy, and hello, football fans. The 2021 pigskin season is in mid-stride, and we're hoping that the upset bug don't get in the corn patch like the boll weevil did in the cotton. I'll guarantee if it does, I'll have a vaccine for him next year. We're going to start off with number 1 Alabama. Number 1 Alabama travels to Texas A&M Saturday night to play Jimbo Fisher's 12th man, and I'll guarantee you he'll need the help. After Nick Saban process blows through Kyle Field, Jimbo Fisher will be eating crow once again. Another assistant goes down. Leonard's Louisiana heartbreaker, Texas A&M. Get me out of here, Pussy. Bye-bye. I love everybody. Bye-bye, everyone.
Appreciate weighing in with the call right there, starting us off on a Friday. Drew Sanders has got 2 guys that'll do a great job replacing him this week. When you look at Chris Braswell and Dallas Turner, the good thing for Drew, the hand injury, it's not anything severe. He'll be monitored on a game-to-game basis. Hopefully, he will be back next week. We grab a call right here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How you feeling? Happy Friday to you. State your name and where you're calling from.
John from Kentucky, thank you for having me on. Feeling pretty good. I want to talk a little bit about Georgia. I don't want to get caught up into looking ahead of games, but Georgia is all about talking about elite defensive line. Now, I've been analyzing this for a while. I'm not an expert or nothing, but I've been watching it, and I tell you what, I don't believe anybody has developed an offensive line as good as the Tide has over the past decade. We just keep rolling guys in and out, and I'm talking about high caliber players are coming to Alabama to get developed. And I don't believe Georgia defensive line is any better than Alabama's offensive elite defensive line. Because I believe when it comes push comes to shove, if we earn the right to get to Georgia, we got a lot of football yet to play. But if we earn the right to get to Georgia, they're going to have all kinds of trouble with our offensive line. And I do believe that with all my heart. I'm not just spewing words, because nobody has developed an offensive line like Alabama has in the past decade. And I do want to ask one question. Is there any chance we'll get to see Quandarius Robinson show up in a way that possibly may see some playing time this year? Because we do need him at that outside linebacker spot. Thank you for having me on, Stephen.
Appreciate John for Kentucky for that call. Quandarius Robinson, it could be. I know he's back with the team now after serving a 2-game suspension. He serves as the backup long snapper, but he still has a spot as a backup reserve outside linebacker as well. So it could be just neat to see what happened this year. More than likely, I think next year would be a better suited opportunity for Quandarius. But a talented guy, has a lot of ability, a lot of size, a lot of athleticism, but we will see on Quandarius. We take a call right here. You're live on the show on a Friday. How you feeling? How you doing? State your name and where you're calling from.
Stephen M. Smith, is Justin Riley again, calling you on a Friday. Excited about tomorrow.
I mean, Justin, I am too. I mean, you go down to Kyle Field, you go down to College Station to take on A&M in a very, I guess, cultic-like atmosphere, to put it nicely. But, you know, A&M feels like they should be undefeated. They're going to come in here putting up their best game. Coach Saban trying to get a complete game from this defense. Going to be kind of fun at 7 p.m. Central Time tomorrow.
Absolutely, man. It's one of the better venues in the SEC, and they'll definitely be up for it. I want to address a little bit of Waylon's worries about Drew Sanders being out. I'm excited about Chris Braswell stepping in. The man had an amazing A-Day game. Seeing that 41 out there kind of reminded me a little bit of Courtney Upshaw, but a little bit faster even. But I'm excited to see the young man get his opportunity. And I think he's going to be an absolute star at that linebacker position come Saturday night.
I am pumped up to watch Chris Braswell, and not just from the A-Day game, Justin, but just what he brings in terms of his size, his athleticism at 6'3", 240 pounds. And I understand people were kind of shook up because Drew Sanders getting hurt. You know, he was starting to come into his own at the outside backer spot, absolutely. But this is the reason why Coach Saban recruits the way he does. You have to have multiple guys that you can trust, be ready, be prepared, be on go, because it's football. Injuries happen. Appreciate that call from my man Justin Riley out of Mississippi hitting us up right there. We grab a call here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How you feeling tonight? State your name and where you calling from.
Stephen A., it's your boy, Senator Coach Smook Hines, man. What's going on, brother?
Doing good, my man. Doing good. Tomorrow is Bama A&M. It's Nick Saban, Jimbo Fisher. The game that was thought to be, the game of the year. The hype has died, but still should be something pretty entertaining, though.
Yeah, I definitely think it will be, especially for our defense. I think the focus is going to be on the defense. And I don't want people to be too worried, Stephen. You got to think, going into the summer, coming out of fall camp, Drew Sanders and Chris Braswell were really neck and neck for that behind Chris Allen's position, And I think Braswell, just his lack of experience is what kept him from taking number 2 spot and being the immediate go-to, hey, Chris is hurt, get in, Drew, because they both got snaps in the Miami game. So I feel like it's one of those things where Drew has just been a little bit more consistent, probably been more consistent in the film room, probably just more consistent in, repetition on the practice field. But we all watching the game. Drew Sanders is developing, but Drew Sanders is not he can't seal the edge like you want the outside linebackers to do. He doesn't seal the edge as good. He has great blitz technique, and he has great chase down speed. And he can cover great. But sealing, that's not one of his strong points. And I think that's where Braswell will have the advantage. And we will be able to see the difference, the different skill set he brings to playing that outside linebacker position. But also, Stephen, I want everybody to watch the top half of our defense, the top end of our defense at the safety. Honestly, the way Helms has been playing, we might see Christian Story. I don't know if y'all caught it last game. Christian Story had 3 or 4 snaps of meaningful gameplay last game, and he was not out of position on any of those snaps.
Very smart kid. Very smart dude.
Yeah. Yep. But that's all I got to say, Stephen. And I really appreciate what y'all doing, man. I got my gift from TDA. Thanks, Mr. Benny and the team up there. Man, I just love this show, man. I love what we're doing, and I'm excited for game chat tomorrow, game day live chat, and Bill and Waylon, everybody in the gang, man. Hey, much love, shout out, roll tide. We out of here, man.
Appreciate Senator there for the call and his thoughts there on Drew Sanders, Chris Braswell, just all taking place here for Bama, Texas A&M. We grab a call right here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How you feeling tonight? State your name and where you calling from.
That's Robert from Mobile.
My man Rob, what's happening, brother?
Well, like you said, definitely Roydell Williams' time to shine. And I'm wondering about Trey Sanders. Hopefully he can get back in the lineup and get back into the mix. It's it started out so well in the Miami game. It's kind of disappointing that it hasn't got for some reason hasn't managed to get back on the field again. So hopefully he'll get back on the field in this game. We'll once again get the chance to see if the offense is how they handle the noise at Texas A&M. Because, again, we're going to have to deal with noise in Auburn and probably noise in the SEC championship game against Georgia. So it'll definitely be good to see, we'll handle it better this time than we did when we were playing Florida. So I definitely want to see that. And I'm interested to see how Auburn does against Georgia, and particularly how Auburn's defense does against Georgia's offense. Because Georgia's offense has been able to mask a few things. Their passing game isn't all that because, other teams just can't score. But what can they do against a defense? Okay, we're not going to let you score either. And they'll be on the road, hostile environment. Let's see what Georgia's offense does with that. It's going to be really interesting to see how both teams, Alabama and Georgia, handle these road games this weekend. It's going to tell us a lot about their ability to beat each other. Because right now it's Alabama and Georgia's world, and the rest of college football is just in it. So I'm real interested to see how these games go.
Absolutely. Robert from Mobile, great thoughts there from him. Looking at Alabama, Texas A&M this weekend, also Auburn, Georgia. That game will be on the plains of Jordan-Hare Stadium. But going back to his thoughts on Trey Sanders, Roydell Williams, Trey Sanders will play. He will get carries. He will get opportunities. This is just an expanded role for Roydell just because of his ability to catch the ball out the backfield. That's what made Jace McClellan really, really that dynamic for Alabama, because not only was Jace able to have the strength in between the tackles and then bounce plays outside and running the football, but Jace also was just a reliable receiver for Bryce Young to throw to out the backfield. So Roydell gets that expanded role due to his pass catching abilities. Doesn't mean that Trey Sanders will not play. He will most certainly play. He will be on the field. He will get carries. This is just an expanded opportunity here for Roydell. But we got a couple of super chats to get to right here. So first and foremost, is that Mechanic? I think it is Mechanic, that 50 piece, that $50 donation helping us out here on the show, showing us the love. And behind Mechanic, we got Mr. Joshua Benjamin. Let's see what Joshua Benjamin with that $5 donation. So appreciate D. Joshua Benjamin helping us out here on the show. Everybody showing love, everybody making this your show, your network for all things Crimson Tide football news, information, and entertainment. We appreciate you guys. So I'm going to go to a quick topic right here. And this was interesting to me because Coach Saban on his weekly radio show Thursday night basically said, look, Texas A&M, this is a dangerous team. They're going to come in like a wounded bear, a wounded animal. They lost 2 games, caught some bad breaks, but this is going to be the best team we will face on paper in terms of the personnel. Nick Saban said this is a trap game for us. He came out and said, this matchup against A&M is a trap game for us. Jimbo Fisher has seen this game go from being SEC Game of the Year to where he is getting paid a little bit over $9 million to have this game called a trap game between he and the Tide. And when we come back into the second call segment here, folks, I want your thoughts on this when we come back from the second call segment in the next 10 minutes here. Do you see this matchup between Alabama and A&M as a trap game? Because to me, there are maybe a couple of ingredients that could feature this. I mean, we've seen a few trap games before at Alabama in the Nick Saban era. Me personally, I go back to 2, the 2009 matchup against Tennessee at Bryant-Denny. Lane Kiffin's only year with the Volunteers, thank God for Terrence Cody blocking 2 Daniel Lincoln field goals, or who knows what the heck could have happened. And then you have the 2012 matchup between Alabama and Texas A&M at Bryant-Denny, the Aggies' first time in the SEC. You had Johnny Heisman, football Manziel, strolling here preseason. He was the third-string quarterback. He was the starter against Alabama, and he ran and threw up and down the field, getting the Aggies a 29-24 win. So those are the two trap games I just noticed off the bat. But just this particular matchup right here, especially with Vegas landing 17.5 in favor of a tie, do you see this Bama Nation as a trap game for Alabama this weekend? Definitely going to get your thoughts in the second call segment after we get back from speaking with our own Justin Smith here. But we're going to break right now on the show and touch that down, because when we get back, we sit down with Justin Smith, the lead scouting and recruiting analyst for TDA, but talk about the latest commitment, Jaleel Skinner, 4-star tight end for the 2022 class. We'll speak with Justin after this.
What's up, Bama Nation? This is Rudy Griffin, former Alabama defensive lineman, and you're listening to my guy, Stephen M. Smith, in my own words, brought to you by Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Roll Tide, roll!
You know what we do at the start of the fourth quarter. We throw them foes up. But now you don't have to wait until the fourth quarter. Get your 4-finger bling necklace at WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. It's the first and only logo that captures the essence of all Crimson Tide players and fans as we represent the legendary Alabama football fourth quarter dominance. Get your 4-finger bling necklace right now at WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. Get yours today and stun on them haters. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full-year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
All right, people, we're back into the action here, folks, on a Friday TGIF edition of the show, the eve of Bama versus Texas A&M, taking place on tomorrow, 7 p.m. Central Time, kickoff under the lights of Kyle Field, College Station, Texas. Crimson Tide versus the Aggies. Nick Saban against Jim Bo Fisher. Good matchup right there. But right now, we go to the In My Own Words hotline, where we pick up the man, the myth, the legend in terms of all things recruiting. That's Justin Smith, the scouting and recruiting analyst for TDA. Justin, what's going on, man? How you feeling? Hopefully you're doing great.
I'm doing good, Steven.
Fantastic, as always, having Justin in the building right here talking Alabama recruiting with us on the show. So, Justin, the Crimson Tide lands huge commitment here, verbal commitment for the 2022 class in the form of 4-star tight end Jaleel Skinner out of South Carolina, but he plays ball at IMG Academy at Bradenton, Florida. You might as well refer to IMG as a high school in Alabama, because Nick Saban is just poaching guys from the program that play for the Crimson Tide. But when you look at Skinner here, you know, how has Bill O'Brien's play calling, or Alabama's use of the tight ends, I should say, allowed the Tide to land this outstanding athletic 4-star in Skinner?
Well, you have to think that had to play a huge role when you just think about the way that the Crimson Tide have used Jaleel Billingsley and Cameron Latou this season. That is exactly the playing style that Jaleel Skinner fits in terms of what he can do on the football field. He's used to playing all over an offense. He can line out wide. He can play slot and be a mismatch for those linebackers. He can be a inline tight end or H-back and block. He can be an inline tight end and act like he's blocking, then go off for a pass. He's a kid that can do a little bit of everything. He's exactly what you want, what you are looking for in terms of those new age athletic tight ends. Currently stands at 6'5" and weighs 215 pounds. So I'm pretty sure he really likes all that he has seen from the Crimson Tide offense, specifically from another Jaleel and Jaleel Billingsley.
So as you look at just more of just his skill set here, Justin, What specifically in your mind does Skinner do really, really well? Is it pass catching? Is it route running? Is it speed? Like, is there anything specifically that you have written down, analyzed, scouted out that this young man just does really extremely well?
I feel it is his ability after the catch. I think you want all your tight ends, especially now the way that the game has evolved, you want your tight end to be able to produce after the catch. He's a guy who's athletic enough to do that, and I think he's one of those big tight ends who can turn those 10, 15-yard catches down the seam into big plays, which is something we see Jaleel Billingsley do. We see Cameron Latou can do it as well. He can make plays after the catch as well. So he's a guy who definitely can produce once he gets the ball in his hands. He is a playmaker. I think that is there's the one thing that really stands out to me about Jaleel Skinner. I think that is what separates him from a lot of other guys.
If you are just tuning into the show on a Friday, in my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith, Touchdown Alabama Magazine. We got Justin Smith, the lead scouting and recruiting analyst for TDA, on the phone lines right now, talking four-star verbal commitment tight end Jaleel Skinner out of South Carolina, plays his high school ball at IMG Academy, giving the verbal to the Crimson Tide for 2022. But, Justin, we're going to flip to a guy you got a chance to watch yesterday, and that was four-star wide receiver Kobe Prentiss out of Calera High School here in Alabama, just a little bit west or east, as I should say, of this Birmingham area here. But just watching Prentiss play, I know Calera started off a little bit rough in the matchup, but they were able to come back, make some plays. But what impressed you the most about Prentiss's performance in Thursday's matchup?
It has to be his quickness and explosiveness. This is a kid who can create separation with his speed and with his electrifying speed and with the elusiveness that he possesses. That is the one thing that I was really impressed with. He's really active after the catch, can get out of tight situations because of his ability to stop on a dime and his change of direction is really good. So he is a really elusive player. He is the player that you see on film. He can do that in person. He definitely has that speed that Alabama is going to continue to go after in terms of those slot wide receivers. So I think he was an exciting player to watch. Helped his team, Calera, come back from a 17-point deficit at half to take a 21-17 lead into the fourth quarter. Unfortunately, they did lose that game, but he looked really well. He looked really good, and I think he is exactly what Alabama is looking for in terms of those slot wide receivers.
Last quick one here on our end, Justin. We are joined live by Justin Smith, the scouting and recruiting analyst for Touchdown Alabama Magazine here on a Friday, in my own words, Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Justin, so Kyle Field will present an entertaining, a hostile, a crazy environment in this matchup between Alabama and the Aggies. But in terms of recruiting and guys taking visits to College Station this weekend, what is the slate of official visitors, unofficial visitors? What's that slate like going into this weekend on the recruiting trail as Alabama and A&M, Jimbo and Nick Saban, will be fighting for recruits?
That's a good number of recruits headed to Kyle Field this weekend, including five-star defensive tackle and possibly the number one player in the nation, and Walter Nolan, who does not have the Crimson Tide in his top three at the moment. Texas A&M is included in his top three. It was a bit of a surprise. Alabama did not make that top three, but he is expected to take a visit to Tuscaloosa. The Crimson Tide are still involved in his recruitment, but he does not have them listed in the top three. So with him coming to Kyle Field this weekend, this could go over well for the Crimson Tide, with him getting to see them in action in person again, because he was in attendance when the Crimson Tide defeated Florida last month. We also have Anthony Lucas, a 2022 four-star defensive end, a guy who could be a five-star guy. Guy who's close to 300 pounds, but he's really athletic, one of the more athletic 300-pound guys I've ever seen on film. He's expected to be in Kyle Field this weekend. He's a guy who officially visited the University of Alabama during the summer. I'm pretty sure the Crimson Tide want to get him back on campus during this football season, but him coming to Texas A&M this weekend could go well for the Crimson Tide as well. A couple of 2023 guys will be inside the stadium, including a five-star running back in Ruben Orange, who the Crimson Tide coach staff is in frequent contact with at the moment.
He's Justin Smith, ladies and gentlemen, the scouting and recruiting analyst for Touchdown Alabama Magazine, coming on here to talk about the verbal commitment of four-star tight end Jaleel Skinner for the 2022 class, Kobe Prentiss, the four-star wide receiver from Calera High School, and the performance that Smith saw on Thursday, and then also just some guys that we can look forward to seeing on this recruiting trail, going to Kyle Field, College Station, Texas, but taking the matchup between Alabama and the Aggies of Texas A&M. Justin, as always, man, we appreciate you, my man. Be good. Take care of yourself.
You do the same, Steven.
Always fun getting a chance to talk with my man Justin Smith. People, y'all think I don't sleep. Justin don't sleep. He is everywhere, around the state, around the city, around the clock, around the globe. Everywhere, scouting out, analyzing, checking on these different recruits, prospects, high school players in terms of the recruiting landscape. But we go to a break right now, folks, on Touch That Dial. When we get back, we return to the phone lines. That's right. We're getting your calls, your thoughts, your opinions, your ideas. We're interacting with you, and we're going to do that right after this.
Don't touch that dial. Call in right now as we're taking your calls up next on In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith, brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Visit weownthefourthquarter.com now to get your four-finger bling necklace.
This is Matt Caddell, former Alabama wide receiver, and you're listening to In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith with Touchdown Alabama Magazine. And I got two words to say, baby. Roll Tide.
You know what we do at the start of the fourth quarter. We throw them foes up. But now you don't have to wait until the fourth quarter. Get your four-finger bling necklace at weownthefourthquarter.com. It's the first and only logo that captures the essence of all Crimson Tide players and fans as we represent the legendary Alabama football fourth quarter dominance. Get your four-finger bling necklace right now at weownthefourthquarter.com. Get yours today and stun on them haters. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide. Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
We are back into the action here, folks, from the break of the number one forum for Bama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen M. Smith, Touchdown Alabama Magazine on a Friday, TGIF edition of the show. And before we go to your calls, call segment brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang here. On tomorrow, where the TDA watch party is concerned, watch party will start at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. Then once it starts, our own Justin Smith and John Ivory will not be on the screen, but the chat line will be up. So you can jump into the chat, you can chat away amongst each other, amongst the family in the Blue Wrench Gang, or just chatting into the YouTube watch party in general. So when it starts at 6:30, John and Justin won't be on the screen, but the chat will be up. You can definitely be able to chat in there and have conversations with everybody right there. But we go to the phone lines right there to take your calls. 205-448-1358. The number right there to let your voice be heard on the show. 205-448-1358. And one more time, 205-448-1358. We grab this call right here. You are live on the show on a Friday. What's going on? How you feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Yeah, we're hanging in there up here in Iowa. This is William Bryan up here. How you doing, Steven?
William, doing great, man. Doing great. Hopefully you're doing well. Bama, Texas A&M tomorrow night.
Oh, yes, sir. Man, you looking good in that shirt. I wish I had one of those.
Man, I'm telling you, I gotta thank the TDA company. They keep me fresh, man. If not for them, I would not be styling right now. I would probably be in here with a thing of overalls on, looking like Landon Dickerson.
styling and profiling. That's what old Ric Flair would say, huh?
Pretty much.
I'm looking forward to this game tomorrow. I'm looking for Roydell and the rest of the bunch there to just show out tomorrow and just give a good game there. Hope there's no injuries. And I know we're missing a few in the chat. I haven't seen Naomi there, and I hope she's well or whatever, and a few others. But I'm looking for a good game tomorrow, and I just want to say Roll Tide.
Appreciate that right there, my man William Bryan calling out of Iowa, getting us started here in the second call segment. It's gonna be a good game. It should be a good game between Alabama and Texas A&M. I think it will be. I think it will be a very interesting game right there. We take a call here. You are live on the show. What's going on? How you feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
What's going on, Steven? Charles from Demopolis.
Charles is back from D-Mob. Charles, what's happening, man?
Nothing.
What you got for me, Charles? What you got for me?
What time the game on tomorrow?
Come on, 7 o'clock Central, Charles. 7 o'clock Central on CBS, my man. 7 o'clock on CBS.
Okay. You going?
I will not be there, Charles. I will not be there, and I will explain that in the final call topic. But I will not be there.
Oh, okay. All right. Thanks for taking my call.
Appreciate Charles from Demopolis, man. Appreciate Charles for calling in. The game 7 o'clock Central Time from College Station. It will be on CBS between Alabama and Texas A&M. Quick topic here, and this goes to Brian Robinson. So the matchup he had against Ole Miss, where he had a career performance, 36 carries, 171 yards, 4 touchdowns. The question is, has that performance unlocked beast mode in terms of Brian Robinson for the remainder of the season, in terms of trying to create a high-round draft stock or a first-round draft stock for himself? Because think about it. We've seen 2 running backs from the Crimson Tide in the past who had big performances or career-high performances against Ole Miss, and both of these guys ended up being first-round picks. You go back to 2011 with Trent Richardson. Trent had a career day, 183 yards rushing. I think he had 4 or 5 rushing touchdowns in that matchup. Alabama won 52-7 at Vaught-Hemingway Stadium in Oxford, Mississippi. And Trent Richardson ended up being the number 3 overall pick in the 2012 NFL Draft. So that happened why beast mode performance against Ole Miss kicked it off right there. If you look at Najee Harris, last season, over 200 yards rushing against Ole Miss. I think he had 4 to 5 touchdowns in that game, and that led to him having a monster season, 1,400 yards rushing, over 400 yards, receiving for Alabama, and it led to him being the 24th overall pick in the first round of this recent venue by the Pittsburgh Steelers. So we've seen this with Trent. We've seen this with Najee Harris. Can we see this with B-Rob, where it's the Ole Miss game that ends up unlocking beast mode? He goes off the remainder of the season and ends up being a first-round pick. We'll continue to monitor that where he is concerned. We grab a call right here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How you feeling? State your name and where you're calling from.
Hey, Steven, it's Mandela coming from West Palm Beach, Florida. Hey, I just got a question. Is that what do you feel about our secondary? Because I feel like at the moment we're continuously kind of. I know A&M can't challenge us on the secondary, but what's your thoughts as far as how we're developing?
I think Alabama's developing. I think they're developing smoothly. The problem is when you do not trust your technique the way you're supposed to, and that's where Josh Jobe is concerned. He's still getting called for pass interferences. He's due for one pass interference flag a game. I don't want seeing that from Jobe. I don't like seeing that from Jobe, but that happens. Jalen Armour-Davis is actually having a strong year. I mean, I know Malachi Moore's been a bit quiet, but he's had a good season. Brian Branch has had a good season. Jordan Battle, when he wraps up and tackles, instead of just trying to hit people, Battle has played pretty well. Helms, I know he missed the first 2 games. I mean, against Florida, he was out of sorts a lot on the field, but seems to have cleaned that up against Ole Miss. I like the talent Alabama's got in the secondary. The guys are being developed. It's just small things that they have got to tighten up and hammer down, especially tackling and trusting that technique. But appreciate my man from West Palm Beach, Florida, with that thought right here coming to the show on the Bama secondary. We take this call right here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How you feeling tonight? State your name and where you calling from.
Hey, man, it's Matt. It's Mattress Matt. How's it going, man?
Man, doing fantastic, but Matt, happy that you in here now.
Man, I'm excited. I heard, I don't know if there's any truth to this rumor. Maybe you can clear it up for me. That Pete Golding will be accepting text message defensive play calls for some suggestions for this game.
Pete Golding will be accepting text message suggestions. I heard that rumor. I heard it. I heard it.
Did you?
I heard it.
I think he started it last game, which is why we did so well, I think.
No, Matt, I heard that. I heard that it was kind of one of those Scooby-Doo things where somebody else was calling the game, and then Pete was like, "This person is not who I think it is."
Too.
Pete Golding rips off the guy's mask, and it's like Jeremy Pruitt.
I heard Pete Golding wasn't even there. It was just an image that was produced onto the field.
I mean, the guy that was telling me this had me laughing with the Scooby-Doo reference because he was like, look, man, somebody from Scooby-Doo was calling the game, and they had the fake mask on, and Pete Golding got mad and ripped the mask off, and it was Jeremy Pruitt calling plays.
And I heard Drew Sanders, he hurt his hand. He actually got mad at Pete Golding, and he came after him, but Pete Golding wasn't really there. And so his hand hit like the pole or something.
Did not hear that one, though. Did not hear that one, but Drew Sanders, he'll be a game to game being monitored there, but it's not season ending. It's not serious, so Drew will be back soon. But appreciate that call there from my man Mattress Man out of Mobile checking in here on a Friday to the show. Appreciate everybody that's been calling in, texting in, donating in, making this your show on a Friday. Bama, Texas A&M coming up tomorrow from College Station, Texas, Kyle Field. We're going to go to a break right now, folks. When we get back, I want to touch into Bryce Young and why this is a huge game for him to be the unquestioned leader in the Heisman conversation. But not just that. I want to shed the light on a couple of receivers and how this is a big game for those guys as well. We tidy up loose ends right after this.
If you're an avid Alabama Crimson Tide fan and you love to flaunt it, then show your Alabama Crimson Tide support by grabbing the All-Bama sneakers. They feature bold Crimson Tide graphics, so no one will be able to question where your allegiance lies. When you add these sweet sneakers to your Alabama Crimson Tide collection, go to stsfootwear.com and use the code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. That's code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. Go to stsfootwear.com and get your All-Bama sneakers today.
Look at all these great players in Touchdown Alabama magazine. Man, wait till I turn up this year. I'm gonna be on the front cover. But what if Will goes off? Or Joe, DeMarco, Chris, Tim, Christian.
Don't wait. Order now at touchdownalabama.com or call 833-483-2624 today.
Thank you you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
We are back into the action here, folks, from the break of a number one forum for Bama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen M. Smith. Touchdown Alabama Magazine. And before we get into final topic of conversation, got to remind you of TDAwear.com. That is TDAwear.com. So for all of you fans still overjoyed with the Crimson Tide's national championship from the 2020 campaign, we want you to check out our championship collection merch. Now this means you grab you an 18 of them things, folk. Hoodie, t-shirt, or sweatshirt, as well as our Got 18 We Do shirts. Designs that feature all 18 championship years on the back. You head on over to TDAwear.com. Do it right now. TDAwear.com. You go over Championship Collections merch tab, and you get you that gear today, showing that support for Coach Saban, the University of Alabama, the student athletes, and us here at Touchdown Alabama Magazine. But before we get into final topic of conversation, I mentioned how, I, yours truly, will not be at College Station, Texas, Kyle Field for Bama, Texas A&M. And the reason for this being is, if A&M would have been undefeated going into this matchup, I would be on a plane. I mean, I would have been on the plane. I would have been on the plane this morning, landing from Birmingham into College Station. If A&M was undefeated, your boy, I would be at that matchup. I would be at that football game. But because Texas A&M has stubbed its toe twice, 2 losses, not taking them lightly, not overlooking them, but because A&M stubbed its toe twice, I figure, be better just watching this game from the television set. So that would be my thesis, my 2 cents on that. But we get into our final thought process, topic of conversation here, and this goes to Bryce Young and the Alabama receivers. Bryce Young and his chance to elevate his Heisman profile, and the receivers in terms of creating that separation, getting open, and breaking out of some quietness here. Now, as much as we want to see Alabama's defense have that complete game, play with relentless passion for 60 minutes, we want to see that happen. Absolutely. We want to see the run game do its thing out there and have the balance on the field. To me, this is a huge matchup for Bryce Young because against Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin, DJ Durkin have the whole let's drop 3 and rush 8 and force Bryce Young to read the coverages. And when you're dropping 3 and rushing 8, you're not going to give up just a whole bunch of big plays over the top. So that's why that game plan was more suited for Brian Robinson to have that success that he had, and Alabama was able to lean on the offensive line. This time around, though, I think it's big for O'Brien to open up that playbook, to open up that vertical passing attack, and get Bryce Young going, attacking that secondary deep downfield with plays. And despite getting a win over Ole Miss 42-21, by default, Young took the lead in the Heisman conversation. I mean, the numbers were not jaw-dropping. They were good, not jaw-dropping. 240 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. Here's a chance for him. He goes out there and let's say has 4 or 5 touchdown passes. Now he puts the fans, now he puts the college football masses, now he puts the people back out there in Vegas, now he puts the national talking heads in the mindset of he is unequivocally the leader in the clubhouse for the Heisman Trophy. He is unequivocally the leader in the conversation for the coveted Bronze Award. Bryce goes out there and he shreds A&M secondary like a turkey on Thanksgiving Day. He will be the man in the Heisman talk, the Heisman clubhouse, where the betting lines and the conversation is concerned. He enters this game with 17 touchdown passes. He's up there among the top guys in college football in terms of quarterbacks. He's up there among the top guys for completion percentage, for passer rating, for total QBR, and for raw QBR. So the numbers are right there. the numbers statistically right there for Bryce Young, but just need that Heisman moment, need that big game where he goes out there under the lights in a hostile environment and just shreds A&M up. He does this big statement there for him in terms of pushing his name and pushing his presence way out there in this conversation. But even more so than Bryce, even bigger than Bryce, this is a game for the wide receivers. In particular, John Mechie. Mechie's been real quiet so far this season. Yes, he's leading the team in receptions with, I think, 27 or 34. He's somewhere in that vicinity, in that range. But he's been real quiet this season. We haven't seen a lot of a big playmaking stuff here for Mechie, and some of that is due to how defensive backs have chosen to defend him and play him and guard him. And of course, this has opened things up for Jaleel Williams, for Slade Bolden, for your two outstanding tight ends, Jamil Billingsley and Cameron Latu. Both of those have combined for 7 of Bryce Young's. Both of those two have combined to catch 7 of Young's 17 touchdown passes. And it's great to see the tight ends involved. Don't get me wrong. It's great to see that. It's great to see Jaleel Williams be involved. It's nice to see Slade Bolden step up here and catch some passes, especially after the drop he had against Florida at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, in the swamp there. But, Mechie coming into the season was looked at as the number one guy. He was viewed, he projected as the number one receiver for Alabama on the board, replacing or filling in for the likes of the departed Devontae Smith that's now in the NFL with the Philadelphia Eagles. Now remember, Nick Saban at one point in time said, our next guy that could potentially be a first-round pick for us at wide receiver is John Mechie. Well, hasn't quite shown that first-round pick ability just yet. Hasn't quite, put it all together in terms of he is, no doubt, a first-round pick. The good news for him is last year in this matchup with Texas A&M at Bryant-Denny, he announced himself to the college football world. 5 catches for 181 yards receiving, 2 touchdowns, a career day for him. So want to see if he can recapture that essence at Kyle Field. Want to see if he can recapture that essence against an Aggies defensive secondary that can be susceptible at times to the deep ball, that can be susceptible at times to timing routes, to post patterns, to slant and go routes, to, when you're making plays, working back to the quarterback. A&M secondary can be suspect to these types of matters. So definitely want to see a big game here from John Mechie. And along with that, keep your eyes on Trayshawn Holden. Coach Saban has talked about this as well. Trayshawn Holden has become the most consistent of all the young guys in that wide receiver room. Holden has gotten a lot more playing time. He's gotten a lot of extended action. If you haven't seen this as of late, he's played in each of the first 5 games for Alabama. Holden 5 catches, 73 yards. So he's getting into the flow more. He's getting into the action more. And Coach Saban talked about it. Holden is really skilled. He runs smooth routes. He's got athleticism. He's got speed. Very, very coachable. Very high football IQ. Loves to learn. Loves to pay attention. Loves the attention to detail. And he follows the knowledge of the older guys in the room. That being Bolden, Mechie, Jaleel Williams. He follows the knowledge of those guys. That's a big deal. When you're trusting the knowledge of your older teammates in the room, but you're also finding ways to craft your own style, get on the field and have success. That's huge there for Holden, and looking forward to seeing what he does moving forward here throughout the season, starting off with this matchup against the Aggies. But definitely will have my eyes on John Mechie. Want to see a big performance from him, and also Bryce Young a chance to push his profile out there even more where the Heisman conversation is concerned. But as always, Tide fans, you want the best in news, notes, action, and conversation. You can do this by going to the Touchdown Alabama Magazine app. You download the app from the iPhone App Store if you're rocking Team Apple, Google Play Store if you got the Android phone. For your audio listening needs, we got you right here, iTunes or Apple Podcasts. Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, Overcast.fm, Google Play, TuneIn Radio, or iHeartRadio. Got you covered there. If the good and gracious Lord sees fit, I'll be back on Monday, continuing the conversation that is Tide football. Remember, Bama fans, you can purchase individual copies of Touchdown Alabama magazine. Have those sent to your door. That link will be in the description. Also, if you're trying to get that fresh edition, print edition of TDA, the magazine, you go to touchdownalabama.com. You click join, become a member, a subscriber today. That link also in the description. If you're trying to get the 4-finger bling necklace, 4-finger bling jewelry, courtesy of our guys at weownthefourthquarter.com. That link in the description as well. Also, folks, be reminded that tomorrow, TDA Watch Party starts 6:30. TDA Watch Party. Get in there. Check out my man John and Justin. But at first, the chat line will be up at first. Chat line will be up at first there. Well, 6 p.m., not 6:30. 6 p.m., my apologies. 6 p.m., TDA Watch Party. But chat line will be up first. But Justin and John will be in there shortly, momentarily. Before they get in there, you can chat amongst yourselves, be a part of the watch party. Also, yours truly will be making an appearance in the watch party as well. So you'll get to see yours truly in the action as well. Gotta shout out Richard G. Before we leave, I believe he has become a member of the TDA roster, and he's also got that $5 donation. That $5 donation, the super chats. Appreciate the love there from Richard G. showing us the love on the show. But until next time, folks, husbands, love your wives. Wives appreciate, value those husbands. Children, weekend is here, but as always, do the right thing, fun thing, smart thing, good thing, legitimate thing to not be bored. You pick you up those 3 hearty meals a day, those 3 great laughs a day. You protect yourself. You protect the loved ones around you. You enjoy the game tomorrow between Bama and Texas A&M. Until next time, folks, I'm your man, Stephen M. Smith. This has been In My Own Words.